now comes crashing in and reminds me of the past. And sometimes I hear your name. Sometimes I hear your name. It reminds me of the pain. Well, I guess you read me right, 'cause I am a foolish man. But at least I understand. But at least I understand. And I've learned to live with it. Memories like grains of sand, lying helpless on the beach, of the ones you need so bad, the ones you need so bad, of the ones you cannot reach. grains of sand.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome aboard. This could be my very last live broadcast on YouTube, depending how this goes. Kind of getting a little tired of holding back, trying to not say or trying to say something without not saying it. It gets a little bit frustrating. We have a couple of important dates coming up in the future, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But welcome everybody. Welcome Robert.
Hey, me just one sec here. Hey, how you doing there, Roger? Good to see you, buddy. The people over on Twitch, good to see you. By the way, we are streaming out to 3 different platforms. We are on Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. And I should say this at the beginning, disclaimer, nothing we say should be taken as medical advice or as actual factual. Do your own research, talk to your own doctors, and listen to the experts. Just so that's out of the way.
Experts.
Yeah, experts. Is that how you said experts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Zero, good to see you. I'm not even really sure where to start or how to start.
How to start? If you want to bring up that first link I posted in the private chat, because in my mind it's one of the most it's one of the nearest dates that we have to contend with. Well, after this week, there may be a couple other dates we need to attend to before that. But if
yeah, for sure.
It's you
want me to play that video?
No, you don't need to play the video. You can just scroll down a little bit. There's
Yep. Right there.
Right there. That's the first date, September 20th this year. The United Nations plan to adopt the political declaration of the United Nations General Assembly high-level meeting on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. That's, I believe, that's part of the International Pandemic Accord, is what they're calling it now. That is going to take away a lot of the countries, Canada, the U.S., all across the world, their
All across
sovereignty.
the world. Yeah.
Their sovereignty to make their own pandemic choices, make their sovereignty as to what can be taken, what can't be taken, what you'll be required to inject, and then just scroll down another one. That combined with if you just click on that, click where it says, yeah. Now, yeah, if you can, I don't know if you can bring that up.
No, Twitter won't blow it up, but I can read it. It
Yeah.
says deadline to reject the amendments to the international health regulations that were adopted on May 27, 2022 is December 1st, 2023. That means the amendments that they are going to approve, because the treaty is already signed, folks.
The amendments have been written. They were actually written in 2021, I believe.
2022.
2022. And as it sits now, each state member, which is basically each country, has 18 months to opt out of the amendments or certain amendments. One of the amendments in there is they want to decrease that time from 18 months to 6 months. So somebody will propose an amendment, and then there's 6 months. 6 months. They have 6 months to look at it and opt out of it. This is it's very disturbing.
And just so everybody knows, it doesn't look like any of our countries are going to do squat about opting out. So what that means is going to come along with what they call a digital health certificate, which is, we all know what that is.
Yeah, that's being implemented in the UK right now, or the European Union, I guess it is.
Yeah, yep. That's where they got the model from.
And once I hate like repeating myself, but with these going through along between the amendments to the health regulations and the pandemic accord, all it'll take is another pandemic, and they've sort of given the right to the WHO really no regulations on what they can call a pandemic, which means another pandemic. Here in Canada, we had our vaccine passports that we had to show, or we were excluded from a lot of society. That's how easy it'll be to bring in a digital ID.
And let me make this very clear, folks. Me and Brian's went over this like something that we saw in Quebec. They're going to hide legislation in there and things like that are in this, that you won't have a choice. It won't matter what the reason. They could say we have this sniffle pandemic, and if they want to give you a magic potion for it, they're going to do it, and they will force you to do it in writing.
Yeah,
I can't stress that enough.
They will take away everything until everybody bows down. And it just won't be a vaccine. It only won't be a vaccine passport. It'll be a digital ID.
Yeah, it'll be a passport for movement.
Yeah, and which will be.
Well, let me expand on this a little bit, Brian.
Yeah.
We already seen what they did in many places where people didn't have this. And that is, you couldn't go to stores, or you couldn't go to other services that people should have. You couldn't go to the hospital. Yeah, Uwe, like they use it in Germany for movement. You couldn't go anywhere without having it. And they claim, oh, well, it's not going to be this. Oh, the hell it won't. It certainly hell will. Yeah, Barry, the U.S. has been one of the largest funders of the WHO, but you want to know where the biggest share of their money comes from? Private people.
Private people.
And I'm not saying that just to say it. Me and Brian have looked into all of this. It's all stuff we've covered before.
It is. I might lose my mic here for a second.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
So you know that's the first thing that if we don't find a way to stop this from happening, that's what we're going to end up with. Literally, you're going to have a bunch of groups of unelected bureaucrats who don't even reside or have no sovereignty to any country that any of us are from whatsoever, none. And they will dictate what you will do, how you will do it, when you will do it, and what you'll get. That's not my words, that's theirs.
So I don't know if you can or not, but I just put a thing in the Telegram chat. I don't know if you can bring that up or not.
Yeah, give me a sec.
And this actually comes from the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation.
Give me 1 sec, Brian.
Yeah. It's
Didn't show it. What the hell?
what's that?
Oh, it didn't download it. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah. It's really scary how much money just one organization like the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation has donated to the WHO, the UN, the WEF. I actually went to their the Gates Foundation website and downloaded all of their donations over the years. And if memory serves me correct, they have donated to the tune of I think it's $74 billion.
Oh, that ain't it.
And now they're starting to study Bill's idea of blocking the sun. What could possibly go wrong with something like that?
This is not cooperating with me.
No.
Well, it don't matter.
Anyways,
It's
the figures is it's over $4.5 billion that Bill Gates has given to the WHO. The second largest donator to the WHO, just behind the U.S. And now they're releasing modified mosquitoes for malaria, and they've been doing modifying ticks for I don't know what reason. There's just so much out. This world is just going crazy. It's I say $94 billion or $74 billion buys you a lot of sway in what's going on in the world. And then there's the Rockefeller Foundation. I've been looking for their donation release. I haven't been able to find that. But the Gates Foundation has their hands in everything.
Let's hold off on that for right now, Dice.
Yeah.
The other thing is all these things tie together when it comes to well, like today I learned that this just kind of blows my mind, but someone holds a patent to the coronavirus. I can't say which company exactly at the moment, but I intend on finding out.
Yeah.
And I should qualify that, not just coronavirus, COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, love. I agree. You know, the thing of it is, they've used what's happened in the past 3 years as a tool to push through some of the most absurd things. Now Roger, there's a company supposedly, and I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. A particular company. I can make some guesses, but I'm not going to make those guesses because everything is going on. Yeah, go right ahead, Barry. Barry, go right ahead.
Go right ahead. Yeah.
You know, and you look at the censorship that we've had to deal with. We got to speak in code words. We can't have honest conversations. And it's done well to divide people. I sit and watch people every day at each other over the most dumbest of things. Yeah, I'm going to get to those, Ube. I'm definitely going to get to those. You know, folks, my biggest thing is think. We need to put our little petty shit aside. Because they don't have sides. They don't have a left. They don't have a right. They don't have a black. They don't have a white. They have one thing. And that's them. Yeah, absolutely, Roger. Drums of war in Niger and in Africa? Absolutely. We're going to touch upon that as well. And by the way, Roger, drop your link. If you guys want to know what's going on in geopolitics, that's the man to watch. He definitely has got a grip on what's going on in the geopolitical line. You know, so how you doing, Queenie?
Hey, Queenie.
So my biggest thing is, folks, from here on out, we need to realize that there isn't a bunch of us's. There's one us.
There is only one us, and we got to remember, and we'll probably get into this as well, as we have a legal system in Canada, the United States, around the world, but there is no justice system.
Yeah, here, I will throw something in the chat that is a headline that says all that really needs to be said, but I think this will go out to all of them, I hope. That's the headline.
And that was from when? Yesterday?
A couple days ago. That's from where I live.
Yeah.
And it's not speculation. The police are involved in it and things like that.
Yeah.
But here's the real rub. Here's a question. Are the prosecutors going to do anything about it? Are the judges going to do anything about it? Are our politicians going to do anything about it? You can tell by reading it, we know one side that's not going to do a damn thing.
Yep.
One thing I'll say to that, Love Francis, is that we don't have a justice system anymore. We have a legal system.
Yeah. You look at the court case there, Andy, what's his name?
Andy No.
Andy No, yeah.
I mean, they've got it on video that Antifa, right on video, literally attacked him and beat the holy hell out of him. And they let him off.
Yeah. Hey, Gab, just give me a second. I'm not sure. I'll rent you up, and you can drop whatever links you want.
Yeah, all you really need is Matt DePerno's link. That's insanity what's going on here. This is why I try to tell everybody what they're doing now is they're literally going after the opposition. They're going after not just the political opposition, but they're going after attorneys and doctors and all that stuff.
Big time.
Canada. Who else did that? The Bolsheviks, Mao, Hitler. They all did the same thing. Did we lose you, Brian?
I'm back.
All right.
Yeah.
I know most people that are here understand what I'm saying and know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I want to move on to something too that, believe it or not, Uwe, come out from the German health minister. Give me one sec here. Bear with me, folks. I have got a ton of things open. Right here. One sec. Boy, they don't want you to get information. They sure as hell don't want to get their advertising out there, don't they?
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll bring this up. And this guy we're going to watch here real quick. He himself can no longer speak openly on this platform.
Well, that's why I mentioned earlier. That's why I mentioned earlier. This may be the last. This may be the last live feed on YouTube for me. But
anyways,
press
here we
that
go.
play button.
Let's take a listen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Philip McMillan, and I am here to keep you updated on some of the important news around COVID-19 based around my research into severe COVID-19 being an autoimmune response to a viral infection. What that means effectively is that it's not the virus that makes people die, but it's the response of the immune system. So the immune system goes into overdrive, which we call a cytokine storm, and that damages the lungs, the heart, and the kidneys, and people can die from severe COVID-19. And my research has always pointed to the fact that it is what we call a viral mediated autoimmune disease. The virus triggers this immune response in people with specific risk factors, and that's what leads to severe COVID-19. Now, the reason that this is so important is because when I utilize this approach and this research framework, I can answer almost every question around COVID 19. More importantly, I can predict what's going to happen next. And so when this warning has come with regards to immunodeficiency after COVID infection from the German health minister, I'm not surprised. More importantly, it's very concerning, but at least we're getting to a point where we're willing to discuss this. So in the link below is the link to the article, and I'll show you what the article looks like here. It's from NTV. I'll make this large real NTV in the politics section, and it's all in German. And so if you use your browser, it can translate it into English. And when it's translated, it looks like this. Lauterbach, his name is Karl Lauterbach, warns of incurable immune deficiency caused by corona. Now, it's important to say that we.
Did everybody hear that? Incurable immunodeficiency. Okay? Incurable. And follow with me. The conclusions aren't what you think they're going to be. Well, maybe they are, but we'll see.
Knew from the start that the virus caused significant lymphopenia, means it wiped out the T cells specifically in the infection. But this recovers after most people have gotten an infection. So it's a transient thing. And it's because the virus has that impact on the T cells. These are specific white blood cells in the body that are very important for fighting all kinds of infections, not just viral infections. And so this is why in severe disease, and even sometimes in milder disease, you would see a reduction in lymphocytes. There's an interesting paper that I've got here, and this paper shows that SARS-CoV-2 infection causes immunodeficiency in recovered patients by downregulating CD19 expression in B cells, not just T cells. And this paper was published in 2021. I think it was in September 2021 that it was published. So this was some time ago. And so it's relevant that this is something we've known about. And so it's not surprising that we have some immune changes after SARS-CoV-2 infection. The question is, what is he talking about? Immunodeficiency. And when they use that term, immunodeficiency, that's where we usually link it to HIV. human immunodeficiency virus. That's kind of the connotation that comes across. And in that sense, maybe they're right, because in HIV, CD4 cells are specifically targeted and taken out, as well as I think some macrophages, and it makes the immune system very weak to fight multiple infections. So, what they seem to be seeing is a similar pattern with regards to COVID 19. So, let's see what it is that he is talking about. And we'll go back to the article here. And here, what he's saying, anyone who gets infected with corona more often runs the risk of developing an incurable immune deficiency. And this is according to Health Minister Lauterbach, looking at various studies that are currently being researched. As a result, the risk of chronic diseases such as dementia would increase. Really interesting. Yes, again, that is factual and that does happen in the infection. But the truth is that it recovers very quickly in the majority of people who have had an infection from SARS-CoV-2. Why would we be ending up with immunodeficiency at this point? Now, as I said, in the first and second waves of the pandemic, certainly in patients who had severe disease, even people who had some mild disease, they had a transient lowering of their lymphocyte counts, and based on the research, even the B cells, but this recovers. What he is talking about here is an incurable immune deficiency. So he goes on and he said, according to Karl Lauterbach, several coronavirus infections in one person can have serious consequences on
You're muted,
the
Robert.
immune system. And that's what they're worried about, several coronavirus infections.
What I was saying, people, is several viral corona infection or COVID infections. Keep that in the back of your mind here. This is where it's going to start to make all sense. It takes several for that to happen.
And that's been the biggie at the moment with you need to remember when we talk about several coronavirus infections, it's important for us to acquaint ourselves with the facts. As usual, I always use Johns Hopkins to give me an update as to what's happening. Now, across the world, cases are falling. However, that's because people are not testing, not because the virus is not circulating. So even on this picture, you can see where the disease is circulating the most. Europe, North America, Japan, some Australia, South America, but as usual, not Africa. Now, people say maybe they're not testing enough. The reality is that I've heard that since the beginning of the pandemic. Africa, for some reason, which scientists don't seem to want to look at, seems to largely be unaffected. And therefore, that leads us to the elephant in the room. Now, I'm not sure if we're at a stage yet where we can start talking frankly about elephants. But elephants are important because if we don't look at elephants, we don't know if elephants can be contributing to some of the patterns that we are observing in parts of the world that have lots of elephants. As you can see here, lots of elephants, it seems as though it has an impact on what we see. So this is the problem, is when science is unable to be objective, science is unable to find solutions. And that has been my biggest worry from the beginning of the pandemic. As I said, when you understand disease, you can then effectively treat it, you can manage it, you can mitigate things. But with what we're doing here now, where there are certain stones that can't be turned, there are certain elephants that can't be moved, it means that we are unable to explain some of the patterns that we are seeing. When I pull back and look at it, to me, it seems blatantly obvious why we're having this. And it is extremely serious. From a clinical perspective, if we don't start addressing this kind of issue very soon, it means we will not have tools to mitigate some of the things that we are seeing. That's the reason why it is essential to talk about the elephants. It's essential for us to look at the elephant and see what the elephant can be doing. What are the collateral impacts that we may be overlooking with regards to clinical presentations? Because the reality is, even if we couldn't get the elephant out of the room, it may help us how we position the chairs. And that will have an impact on what it is we're doing. It's sad that at this stage, we still have to be speaking in code, but we do. And it's important for people to read between the lines and recognize that at the end of the day, science is what we have to follow. We have to become determined that no matter what we are looking at, we mustn't be afraid to face it. That seems to be the challenge that we have today. And it's something that I think that is going to hold back the advances that we need in terms of managing current disease and even learning for the future about other diseases. There are lots of lessons that we can learn from this. But sadly, at the moment, it seems that politics and finance seems to be leading most of the charge. People, we need to find answers and we need to insist on them. Science needs to be objective at all times. But yes, I would advise everyone, you take a look at the article. It is very, very important. And join me on Substack. I'll be hopefully doing a presentation to explain in more detail as to exactly why this is happening and what it has to do with regards to the immune system and the elephants flying around in the room.
Hayes, you're missing the point of the video. The thing is it takes several COVID infections for you to end up with the autoimmune deficiency. Several. So yes, your immunity that you build up keeps that from happening. Roger, you won't get no argument from me there. But let me ask you people. Here's the question and the elephant. What mimics infection? What could make it seem like you've been infected several times?
Well, let me spell it out since it's my channel. It's studies come out now that the more jabs you get, the more likely you are to have a reoccurrence of COVID. I don't know how much more I can simplify that. So the more vaccines, the more vaccines you take, the more times your body supplies an immune response, but not the right one. And this is where you end up.
That's pretty much the gist of it, Hayes, and that's not speculation. There's published papers on that now.
Yeah.
You know, so when he talks about the elephant in the room and you look at where all those red dots are, you know, one thing I did find peculiar in that, Brian, is that one red dot in California. You know where that happens to be at? If those locations are relatively correct, it happens to be around a certain biolab that they found illegally there in California.
Oh, yeah.
That they decided not to tell anybody about since March. Since March, people. And they had COVID-19 and hundreds of mice that they were infecting and all kinds of stuff and many other diseases. And there's a very good possibility, rumors, I can only say rumors, that these things exist all over the world in all of our countries.
Yeah. Winnipeg here in Canada is one of the places. Apparently, in the war-torn country we have going on right now, there was a few labs found there.
Correct, Uwe. It's kind of strange that the only place that they claimed where, all holy hell was going to break loose from the pandemic, excuse me, is the only place that didn't. And if you look at if you remember where all those clusters were, those were all the places where they were literally almost right down to forcing people. You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
They claim, well, we didn't force anybody. It was only a suggestion. All bullshit. If you can't work, you can't exist in society, you can't go to the doctor, you can't go to the store, you can't see your family or talk to your friends or anything like that. I pretty much call that forcing people.
It's strongly coercing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the saying goes? The beatings will stop when morale gets better.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. Well, our illustrious leader here in Canada, if you don't get vaccinated, don't think you will be able to get on a plane, get on a train, go to a restaurant, go to an event. And that's not forcing people. Go to work.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like here I'm at, and it's the same thing in Canada. They're complaining about how they have a shortage of healthcare workers. Well, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. And as strong as I thought I was below my last penny. And that's when I went and had to get vaccinated. Because I held out, and because I held out, I was not eligible for any. I spent 43 years paying into employment insurance. Because I held out, I would not have been able to collect employment insurance. I was not able to collect any of the COVID subsidies served here in Canada because I held out. I was left, I would have been, my family and I would have been left no work and out on the street.
But that's just a suggestion, Brian. Come on.
Yeah.
It was just a suggestion. And the other thing is the excess deaths. And I can, if you don't follow Dr. Campbell or Region Health or Trial Site or things like that, you really should. A lot of the links that Brian's posted in the past, I don't know if they still exist, Brian.
They don't exist as links, but they do have they exist as text.
Okay, so copy and paste, folks.
Yes, I'm not allowed to put links in the description anymore. I think I've said something over the past few months that might have annoyed YouTube. So I'm not allowed to post links in the description or make community posts anymore.
But there's no censorship, folks. It's all for the good of you, right?
Yeah.
don't have open discussions. We can't have that. Heavy on the sarcasm.
Yeah.
You know, now I want to broach the politics of this, but I want to do it in a twofold manner. Let's look at what's happened to society and our social being in the past few years. Everything has become politicized. I don't care if it's a pair of tennis shoes you buy. It's politicized. How did we get to that point? How did we allow ourselves to get to that point?
Well,
it's.
I know. For me, it was until three. Well, actually, I started following Canada and the U.S. back in was it 2015 when Trump came down the escalator. That's what woke me up to the construction, the corruption in government. And then I started looking into Canada politics and started following what's going on here in Canada. And boy, was it an eye opener.
Yep.
And I was guilty of, oh well, the government is there to look after us, you know. I went about my day working my 5 days a week, you know, enjoying life, thinking the government was doing the right thing. Well, boy, was I wrong.
Well, let me point something out on that. To everybody here, if we aren't involved in what our political system's doing, and we trust that they're doing in the best interest of us, you are sadly mistaken. And if you don't be engaged, and you don't interact, and you don't try to hold them accountable, now granted, I will admit that seems to be a very tough hill to climb lately.
Well, it's a tough hill to climb if only a small percent of people try and hold the government accountable. It's real easy. It's real easy to hold accountable if a lot more people are involved.
Jersey girl, I would say there are no pills, because in all reality, that's another course of division in society. We have to somehow figure out how to break this barrier to where some of the most mundane stuff is politicized. I mean, we can't even have conversations with people who may disagree with us without it turning into an absolute shitfest. There's no longer productive discussion at all on anything. And something I'm going to say. Everybody says, well, your truth, my truth, or whatever are different truths. No, that's not true. There's only one truth. And it will always be one truth. And absolutely. Left or right has nothing to do with truth. And you're absolutely right, Roger. Absolutely, Chapman. Amen to that, brother. You know, we've got to figure out a way to bring our societies back together. I mean, we went from early in COVID to literally, if you weren't vaxxed, there were people calling for your death. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's the insanity that this world is in nowadays. You know, I can't stress that enough. Now, let's look at the politics and what's going on. In this country, we literally have a judicial system or a legal system that is going after opposition politicians, electors, representatives for the absolutely most asinine stuff. But yet we have a leader who arguably, allegedly, has taken bribes, blackmailed, all kinds of stuff. I can't say allegedly on that because he admitted it ran national TV. But yet we have a Congress that can't decide whether or not they want to start an impeachment process. And some say, well, you know, then we'd end up with this and this person would be in charge. That doesn't matter. Either we're a society of laws and what's just, or we're not. Doing the right thing should not be a hard thing to do. Just as the silencing of doctors and scientists and clinicians that's happened in these past 3.5 years. People who were trying to do the right thing. And it shouldn't be that way.
It got them silenced. It's got them censored. And in the meantime, we have all these distractions that have popped up since 2020. One of the biggest distractions is this whole transgender issue, and there's a few people that are baiting a majority of people, and the government is going along with it in order for a distraction. It's another divide. Because if anybody thinks how do I say this without sounding that I hate trans people, and I don't.
All right.
They're free to live their life and do whatever they want. And of course, I draw the line at children. But it's one of the biggest issues going on in social media now, where the WHO, the UN, and the WEF should be the biggest issue, because that's where it's going to really affect people.
Absolutely.
It's once these amendments go through, or if we don't stop them, and the pandemic accord and the SDG, digital ID, CBDCs, you won't hear any issue about transgender or all these other issues that are going around in the world, which are right. Not that they're not important, but I feel everybody is, if we don't head off what's going on with these world organizations, these other issues aren't going to matter at all.
Nope. And what floors me about that is people with that mindset seem to think that they're going to be immune to what's going to happen if this goes through. And I hate to tell them, but you're going to be on the chopping block right along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Because there is no us at the moment, and there needs to be an us, because they don't give two shits what your politics are, what your lives do, or nothing.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Uwe. I'll have to take a look at that. There are countries that are fighting excuse me, back against some of this insanity. You know, and government should not be into social issues at all. So, anyways, folks, we know where everything's at. We know what's happening. We know the who's. And if you haven't looked at the WEF, which I'm sure many of you here have heard us talk about, if you haven't, just go to Google and type in WEF website and go look and listen to some of the things they say. It's insane. And those are the people who are molding the future of how we're all going to live.
Yeah.
If we don't stop this stuff. And we, I mean all of we.
Absolutely. And people need to share this WHO stuff. Because if these, like I say, these amendments and the accord go through, we are going to be hooped.
Yep. And you're correct, Big Dice. Niger is the new war. And if you want to know what's going on over there, I would suggest going over to Roger Hop's channel, RHTV Live. And he will give you breakdown by breakdown, play by play. The WEF, if you type that into Google and look for the WEF's website, they have everything they want on there. Give me a second. I'll post the link, folks. Well, that's the problem. Oh, that is the problem. WEF stands for World Economic Forum. Okay. I'll post the link right now. And there you go.
Yeah. And the World Economic Forum is tied in with the United Nations,
The
World Health,
WHO.
the WHO.
A lot of three-letter acronyms and a couple two-letter acronyms as well.
Yeah.
You know, so that's all I can tell you, folks. Me and Brian have looked at and read so many things. Some very shocking and disturbing things. Yeah, the EU for Uwe. Very correct. And all the information is out there. It's all out there. Yeah, if this happens to be the end of the O2 beach for us, you'll find us on Twitch and Rumble possibly Kick soon, Twitter, because we're not going to stop by any means.
No.
I'm not sure what that question is there, Miranda.
I just threw my Rumble link up in the. Oh, so did yeah.
Yeah, it's the same way everywhere, Miranda. Absolutely the same way everywhere. That's the destruction of our monetary systems. And I've touched upon that before in other streams. I think after is going to be the stage for many things, Roger. If you're asking me, Miranda, inflation is crazy. Our monetary, let's put it this way: the purchasing power of $1 went down by about 18%. Hey, doing, Rosie Convoy? Good to see you. You're kind of coming in at the end. You might have to back up and re-listen. So, but anyways, is there anything else you'd like to add, Brian?
I just threw your link in the chat. We'll see if we'll be here next week, I guess. So far, so good. We didn't get a black screen. But nope. I suggest everybody go check out The Who. Go check out some of the links in the previous streams on YouTube, although they're no longer links. For Canada, I've got posted under things you can do in the video, the things we can do. There's the phone number and email address for our representative in the World Health Assembly, and to Zoe Kahn, who is the chief negotiator for the World Pandemic Accord. Give those guys a jingle, an email, tell them to smarten up and stay away from all that.
And don't give any of these politicians any quarter. Be very blunt. Ask them questions. Ask them, what are you doing about this? You know, I will say at least there's some politicians, some who are actually starting to speak up, but there's not enough yet. If we got to shame them into it, then we'll do that. You know, so, and on that note, folks, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope in the future we can bring good news that maybe this WHO treaty has been shot down. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And on that note, everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you soon, and we're out of here. In 3, 2, 1, take care, everybody.